Hey everyone, welcome back to Sims World. So, in this episode, I will be introducing three new characters to the series, and they will have a reasoning to be introduced for two reasons. One, this is Murder House, so obviously they would be a ghost of former people in the thing. And if you haven't seen my Facebook post about them, I will briefly explain about each and every one of them and how they fit into the storyline of the house. So if you haven't watched the last episode, this house has a history of being an orphanage and all that. And the orphanage was shut down after a killer had killed some people in the orphanage. And then another previous owner had killed his children and his wife in the house. So I'm going to go ahead and briefly explain who these people are now. So Ash Kimball was the adoptive son of Tate, who was the guy that went insane and killed his family, and Ash is the adopted son that was set on fire by him. Jesse Morton is the son of the serial killer that pretty much killed people in the orphanage. Jesse, though, was trying to live up to his dad's expectations. However, he never really could. So his dad got mad at him one day about it and drowned him in the tub. And normally his dad would cut people up and all that, but he never did with Jesse because he was his son. So, and then we have Pepper Mars. So, Pepper Mars is a ghost that this woman, she was really, really sweet and gentle woman. Um, and nobody, like her biological parents, never really wanted her because of her abnormal size head. And so she was always called like a freak and stuff like that. And so her family, when she was just a baby, put her in the orphanage, and she was never adopted out. She was never anything. And so the head of the orphanage, Thana, which is actually Thana from my orphanage challenge, got tired of dealing with Pepper and sentenced her to get electric shock therapy. And when she did that, Pepper ended up dying during the procedure because they put the electronic shock up too high, and Pepper ended up dying during the procedure. But we have a witch in our family, so that's going to come in handy for a certain storyline I have planned with some of these ghosts. And let's go ahead and jump into the episode now. Okay, so we're here now, and you can see some of the ghosts here, but this is Pepper here, and then we have Jesse, and then Ash is over here sleeping on the ottoman, and Ambrose's room. And I think Noah's starting to realize that there's ghosts in this house, and he's actually talking to Pepper, and apparently he can see Pepper, and he's kind of like asking her like, "What happened to you? Like, what happened? Why are you here?" And she's like, "When a ghost dies in this house, they're constantly trapped, and we've been trapped for years, but not all ghosts are kind." And so he did meet Pepper. He's seen Pepper, but he hasn't seen the others yet. Like, he has, obviously they're here, but he's never actually seen them. But he knows Pepper's here, and he knows about her story. But he's never learned about anybody else. So I think he's gonna mention something to um Sabrina when she gets up, potentially about Pepper. But Pepper, the thing with Pepper and them is they're bound to this house, so they can't leave because they're a ghost, and they're stuck in limbo because their arc was never finished. Like, they were never sad, and they're talking about parenting, which is making Pepper upset because part of Pepper's storyline is that she's always wanted to be a mom, but nobody ever really loved her because of the fact that they always thought that she was a freak kind of thing. And he's like, well, he said, I think that ultimately, he said, I don't know if there's any other ghost around, but I think what happened to you was absolutely horrible. And she's like, all I gotta say is there is other ghosts here. Some of them are um really, really not the best. But there's a little boy here as well. His name's Ash. He's sitting right there. And he's asked to show himself. So he can see Ash as well. Noah can. And so he's saying hello to him. Ash, she said, Ash and I have been seeing each other, not like a couple, but we've been stuck together in this house and we've kind of helped each other out. And he has been here a little bit less time than I have, but he was burned to death by his adopted father, which I think was absolutely wrong. He said, but there is another ghost here. His name's Jesse. He's not the best guy to know, but there's only one way to get rid of him. But unfortunately, in order to get rid of him, you would actually be getting rid of us. And then we'd be stuck in complete darkness. So she's like, is there any way that you could potentially help us? Could you help me? Could you? And he's like, I mean, I don't know. I could try. I don't know how to work with that stuff. Like, he's kind of like stuttering because he doesn't know. But I think that they know now that the cell is still here, and I think that they're eventually going to take it down, but I think that they're starting to realize that this was an orphanage. There's a lot of stuff that's happened here now. Especially Noah knows now what happened in the past. And Sabrina is a witch. Her powers will be coming in very soon. So she's going to go ahead and wake up now, and because she has to use the bathroom. But I think Noah's going to mention something to her because he knows that she could be potentially a witch. And Sabrina's been realizing, like, there's certain things about her that she tends to be able to do, and one of them that she's been realizing is, like, this power inside of her starting to grow, and one of the powers that's starting to grow that she doesn't know that she's going to have yet is the power of resurrection. So she'll be able to resurrect things in the limbo stage as a part of her witchcraft. So she's using the restroom right now, but Vincent is gonna go ahead and meet Pepper now because he's seeing Pepper in his bed. So he's now gonna go ahead and meet Pepper as well. And I think that now that, like, he's starting to see Pepper in his own light, I think that Vincent might have, might have kind of, like, had a little bit of a crush on her once he sees her. And, that's going to be a differently, like, really beautiful type thing. But they're obviously going to have that situation until Sabrina can fully maintain her power. And in order to do that, she must do a certain obstacle. And that obstacle is she has to pretty much get a certain skill. And that skill is herbalism, or planting, or kind of like growing stuff type things, or gardening. And the reason why that is because a lot of the skills will use, like, gardening tactics. So I think everybody's starting to realize that this house is haunted. Nobody has seen Jesse yet, though, but he is walking around. But like Pepper has said, he's not one of the best ghosts. So one of the skills that she has to get is either herbalism, gardening, or repairing, and or she could get like a logic skill. So she has to kind of pretty much get some sort of skill that she could learn. More so logic because would be really good, because then it will allow her to get the aspirations to be able to resurrect things, and her witch stuff is starting to come in. And Noah and her have been talking about this, and she says, I know that my mother was a witch, and I know Ambrose is not because I've asked him before, but I think I am. I feel this power inside of me, but I need to unlock my logic skill from what it says online, or herbalism or gardening, depending on what type of witch I want to do. And she said, I want to be a witch that's able to resurrect things, which they said is either gardening or logic. And so she is going to go ahead and work on her logic skill in order to get that up, in order so that she could potentially do the resurrection spell on Pepper. And Vincent, I think ever since he's kind of seen Pepper now, he's kind of like fell in love with her, even though she is a ghost and obviously they can't really reproduce or anything right now. But she's told him about his past, and I think Pepper kind of has a little bit of a crush on him as well. And she's told him about her past, and she says that she has always dreamed of having children, and the only problem is Vincent really can't have kids. Like, he can't, because he's had a sex change, a complete sex change. He cannot carry a child, but Pepper can. So they would have to have like an egg donation or something like that, or they could adopt. And now that Pepper is older or old enough to have a child, they could be potentially. But these two have been kind of like talking for hours now, off and on. Pepper's got a little bit of sleep though, but these two have been talking for hours on and off. The kids should actually be heading into school now, but um, obviously the ghosts don't have to, but she has stated that she thinks that she's able to pull off the resurrection spell now, but once she gets home is when she'll do that. But she said there's also limitations I read that she read online as well, and the resurrection spell can only be um, resurrected on people that, one, they have to be one willing to be resurrected, two, they have to be a or you have to have a pure soul. So the person that they're being doing it on has to have a pure soul. So it can't be resurrected on someone like Jesse, who is um isn't really the best sim, so he will never be able to be resurrected because of how he is. But I don't think Jesse has ever really showed himself to anybody yet. Um, but I think he's going to now. He's going to go ahead and like show. See, he's a little bit of a different, like a mean. Sim. So he is going to go ahead and like mess with Ash. But this room here is where Ash actually was burned as well. And I think Pepper's haunting the sink. But yeah, the kids are at school. But once Sabrina gets back, she said that she's going to attempt the resurrection spell and see if it works and if she could actually possibly resurrect Pepper, because both Vincent and Noah had asked her to, and Pepper doesn't know anything about this yet, but I think that Pepper's going to be willing to try it because she feels like she was gypped out of her life. So, we'll have to wait and see, but I'll be back once one of the kids get back. So, Sabrina has realized that she's able to do this skill now, and she's going to go ahead and resurrect Pepper since Pepper is a pure soul and Pepper knows about it, so she is going to go ahead and resurrect her, and she's already has done that. So Pepper doesn't know this yet. She's still sleeping, but she doesn't know that she's been resurrected already. But I think Vincent is going to go ahead and come upstairs and wake her up and let her realize that it was resurrected, and tell her how she was resurrected. So this is Pepper's human form. She was resurrected, and I think she's really happy about it. So she is going to go ahead and thank Sabrina for it and hug Vincent and that, because Vincent is also the one that asked her specifically if... So Sabrina's like, you are absolutely beautiful. So I think that... So she's like, I know you had a hand in this, Vincent, and it was really nice to get to know you. So I know you had a hand in this. So we have introduced some ghosts, and obviously Pepper was resurrected. And so she and Vincent have been talking, and they've been talking even while she was a ghost. But like I said, there's limitations, and there's also going to be some consequences for messing with fate that Sabrina does not know. And that is that every time she resurrects someone, it takes a little bit of her soul away, which means that slowly but surely, if she keeps resurrecting people, she could end up burning her soul out, which would mean that she herself could even go down the darkness path like her father, or like her mother did, or she could end up just dying if she burns too much of it off. But I think that she doesn't know that yet, and Pepper doesn't know that because Pepper wasn't a ghost. But a lot of people think Pepper died years ago. So, but Pepper's like telling all her stories of the orphanage and how her parents never really cared about her, and kind of really getting to know Vincent really well. And I think that Sabrina went downstairs and said to Noah that you should really go upstairs. There's someone that you might know that wants to talk to you. So he doesn't, I don't think he even realized that she did the resurrection spell and it was successful. So he's going to go ahead and come upstairs and meet Pepper officially. So Pepper's a little bit hungry. Because I mean, you can imagine she's hungry, but he's meeting Pepper officially now. But the only problem is, like I said, with the resurrection thing is everyone assumed that Pepper was dead years ago. So they don't even know, besides knowing who Pepper will be. Pepper might even have to change her name because they kind of think that Pepper died years ago through electrocution. As well as Jonah, which these guys don't even know was resurrected by Judas. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it here, guys. We had 3 new ghost characters introduced. We had Jesse, who we'll dive more into in the next episode with. We had Pepper and Ash, but Ash is still a ghost. I don't know where he is. Oh, he's up here, freaking out about something. But, and we also had Jesse and them, but Jesse will dive into Ash. We will dive a little bit more into in the next episode. But Pepper in this episode, she was a ghost, but she's resurrected, and you've seen that her and Vincent have really started to grow a bond. And I don't know what's going to happen from here. Maybe they could get together. We don't know. But I think that she's cold because of, like, you can imagine, like, being ghost, you get that chills and all that. So she's still definitely having her used to getting back her life. And Vincent is used to having her around now. Or is going to have to get used to having her around. But I think that this family is going to be really, really fun to play with. Now that Sabrina's starting to realize her witching skills, it's going to be really, really fun with this family. So anyways, with that said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys all next week for another episode of Sims World. But I'll see you guys all tomorrow for Sims Paradise. Peace.